Okay, welcome back to SABADO Sessions Podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Joey, and we've got Durant here today. We collaborate with Mo. He's back again, and today we got our guest, Karlina Tongotea. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly.
That's all
But
right.
yeah, tell us how you are, a little bit about yourself and what's been going on, Karlina.
Yes, hi, I'm Karlina. I just got back from holiday, so I'm doing very well. Juris wasn't very happy with that. But yeah, I'm the lady from New Zealand that everyone's been talking about, and the New Zealand under 76 champion. Been lifting for coming up 5 years now, with the same coach that Joey has, Dom.
Dom, yes, that I've only met once, and he doesn't even remember me.
Oh, sad.
No, I don't blame him though. Like 2018 was a long time ago. But
I
yeah,
mean, there's always Malta next year, so Dom might better
Yeah.
get himself on the plane.
it
Yeah.
depends though. He said he'll talk to me if I get selected in our British team. I think.
So are you trying to say like select me, please, because I need to go and meet Dom?
No, I'm not. I'm not telling anyone to select me.
Okay, just say.
I have to earn that, you know. But yeah, so Carlino, I want to start because I know you, like you said, we have the same coach and everything. My first question is nothing to do with our coach right now, but I know you said you listened to our podcast with Agatha. She said
Yeah.
a few things, like she said like she's expecting 600 total from you, easy. And like you're definitely one to look out for like 2023 2023 IPF Worlds Classic. How do you feel about your name being mentioned, being thrown about? Like Majid as well is putting you in his story, like King of the List as well. You're the girl, like you said, from New Zealand, as everyone's talking about. How does that make you feel? What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah. I mean, you can't deny that it's pretty cool when you see people from different parts of the world noticing what you've been doing for a little while now. Um, so yeah, it is really cool. And big ups to Agatha. That was a really cool podcast, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
She's a smart girl. And I'm really looking forward to competing against her. She's formidable and young, and that's the scariest part.
Yeah, I know, right? Like
Yeah.
it, when we were speaking to her, I don't know if you noticed as well. Even though she is young, she came across as someone that's like way more seasoned than what her age would suggest, right?
For
And
sure.
and and that's then that just gives me like a mental image where say what the head to head does happen. It's not just you and her. There's also
Mm,
Jess and
mm.
obviously a good few others on the world stage. And then it's just like, man, obviously there's no like bad blood there, so that you can't really like use that. But my question would have been, what would you use to sort of be like, I need to do better than everyone here. Like you
Yeah.
can't you
Oh,
can't.
that podcast was enough.
Oh snap!
That little fire underneath me. I was, as I said, she trains crazy. She's
Mm,
got this mindset, and she's young. You just don't know like how much more she can do within the next year. It's really hard to tell because she's basically just started. And
mm.
so it's really exciting to think, how much she could do, and what does that mean for me? How much more do I need to do? Yeah. So
I
that
think
was a
I,
really
I
good
think I
thing
think
to
that's
fire
for
me up.
coach to decide, right? Like, all right, let's push her a bit more. I mean, I'm pretty sure your training's a bit different from mine because obviously he's more hands on because he can be,
Yeah.
as opposed to like me, that's like literally halfway around the globe.
Mm.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah, he's. Mm.
gone.
Yeah,
Oh
sorry,
no, no,
Colleen.
you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Was it about training, Juris, that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about training. In terms of like, we know Dom has got a lot of these international lifters. What I mean international, like big lifters around his roster. So how do
Uh,
you feel being part of that family? Because sometimes again, I think we got a lot of guests here, especially some of them are coaches as well. And I asked this question in terms of how do you deal with big names? So you not as a coach, but as a lifter, how do you feel about being part of that roster now, Karlina? I mean, we're not gonna deny it here, right? When they talk about the biggest IPF names at the moment that are hot, you're one of them. So how do you feel?
It's good pressure. I like to be under pressure. And I think that's probably the best way to describe it, because that, I guess I sort of needed it anyway. I was in a different and smaller federation before and kind of just using myself as my own drive. And so now to have all of this around me is like this new source of motivation to keep doing what I'm doing. It's always been really cool. We've had Joy for a couple of years now, so I've always looked up to her hugely. And just, yeah, being a part of that squad is pretty awesome. We're not in the same country, we don't talk all the time, but just sort of that camaraderie of knowing that she's doing amazing and that's something I can aspire to has been really helpful.
Yeah.
So what about even the personal touch that Joey mentioned there, in terms of like, because he's there, you know, as much as it has got Joy, Bo, Joey across around the world, but because he has got a personal touch with you, does he make you feel like I can gain more from him, pretty much like compared to the rest?
I've never thought about it that way, but I guess it makes sense that if he's literally always there when I'm training, because I always make sure that I'm there on those times and get the most out of him, and he can get the most out of me as well. So we're very lucky in that way. I'm not sure how many lifters get that. It's very rare that he's not there when I'm training. So that one-to-one real-time stuff, and all the stuff in between is super helpful.
Fantastic. That's good.
I want to know, yeah, like, what's he like?
No, don't ask the coach stuff. Yeah,
no,
you go find
no,
out.
no. Because I know it's nothing to do with Dom. Like, there's not a Dom podcast that is about Karlina, but I want to know from your first-hand experience, what's he like when he's like one-to-one? Like, is he stoic like how I imagine him to be, or is he just like laid back sort of? I don't know. Like,
yeah.
Obviously, I don't think too deep into it, but I am curious if I had to be honest.
If you could put those two things together, that's him.
Laid back and stoic.
Yeah, at the same time, because maybe that's not the best way, because he's just always kind of got this unimpressed look on his face. So he is kind of just like, okay, we can do better.
But
Jules, go on, say it.
But it's what you pretty much get for so-called these big coaches, because they have got big names under the roster. Some of the things that you do is not going to surprise them. For instance, let me just say, I watched your last competition, right? I mean, I don't know why I stayed that late to watch it. I have no idea. Don't blame me. It's just that powerlifting stupidness in me. So
don't lie. It's because the little one was awake.
Yep, but we can't say much about that. So yeah, but I've watched it live again. I'm saying, like, when I saw you squatting, if I'm dumb with you at that place, I'll be like, okay, I know she can do more than that. Right? It's like that impression of people being impressed by what you're doing is kind of almost like gone, because he sees you on a daily basis. If you score 215, he knows your strength is 225. So that 215 to him is just thinking like, yeah, but she's still 10 kilo under. But again, at the same time, it does not stop us to be impressed, because when numbers have been thrown at the bar on the comp day, you have to be impressed. Again, it's just a point I wanted to make about these big coaches that has got big name. It's hard for them to be impressed. It's very hard. I've never spoken to any big coach and tell me, oh, I'm so impressed about what this person did. No, you know, it's me screaming what Majid has done. But probably Majid, you can jump in. Probably Majid's coach will be like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Can't be here, Majid, you're mute.
Brother, yeah. Your audio is a bit thick, but you know what, let me jump in for you. I wanna just briefly ask about training. I know I don't want to give out too much of the source. Dom would probably like scold me for doing this, but What's frequency been like for you and everything, Karlina? Like, do you do 6 SBD sessions a week? I'm not saying you do. I- I'm I'm pretty sure Dom would not do that. Like, he would just give you what's beneficial for you and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
what's
how I would die if I had to train 4 times a week, to be honest. No. I train 3 times a week.
Oh,
And
snap.
yeah, and I have done since the beginning, because we tried 4 times and I just couldn't recover quick enough.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I do 2 squat, 2 deadlift, and 3, or now 4 bench, because I need to bench more.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's working for me right now. But yeah, um, the coaching aspect though, like you said, you've been competing for 5 odd years. Have you
Mm.
also been being coached for 5 odd years as well?
Yeah, from day
Fr-
one,
From day
basically.
one.
My
Oh,
very first comp was with Dom, and I've been with him ever since.
was that just like, all right, so I want to do this, so I need a coach, or did you
Yeah.
find out about the sport itself first and then, oh, maybe I should get a coach?
Yeah, I stumbled on his Instagram page, and so saw this sport of powerlifting for maybe a year before I decided to go into it.
Okay.
Yeah, and he coached the under 72 champ at the time, so I was watching her a lot and just
Uh,
so amazed with the strength that she had. And he used to do these open days where he would get people to come in and just max out.
yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, so I went to one of those, and then I've been there ever since.
So did you max out as well on that day?
Yeah,
Did
deadlift.
oh did you like wear like the belt and everything, or when you
I
did it?
tried, yeah, I borrowed some guy's belt, and tried it, and it looked terrible. It was like this fake brace, because I didn't know what was this thing that people were doing when they were taking a deep breath. So I just tried to mimic it.
I mean,
Yeah.
what did you pull? Do you remember?
160, yeah.
But you were like, I reckon when you were like relatively light, right? Because you
Yeah, it
did
was like
compete.
69 kilos, or yeah,
Gee,
when I first started.
first ever deadlift.
That's pretty impressive right there, you know. I mean, again, just talking about the first comp, Karlina. I mean, because me and Joey probably have got different experience on our first comp, so some of us just did it for the sake of doing it because there was no strong people around the division. I said, okay, let me go and do it. Let's see if I can be the strongest.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yourself, you know that feeling you get after the first comp, is that actually that pushed you thinking, do you know what, I'm gonna stick with this, the sport itself?
Yeah, it definitely was. After the first squat, I remember distinct calm after the nerves, and that this sport is for me. I really, really
Yeah?
enjoyed it. Yeah. I was so nervous going into it. And then after the first squat, it just like all dissipated, and I just felt like I was meant to be there.
You know, I was speaking of like the squat. I believe, like, I don't know if it was like um that group work thing we did with Dom, where he was describing how the different mindset different lifters have. And then he mentioned you, and I think you didn't even know what bombing out was in a comp. Do you remember this story?
Yeah.
Do you
You
want to
never forget your bomb.
do you want to take us through that, please? Because I'm not gonna lie, like you're not the only one in this this meeting, this Zoom meeting that's ever bombed.
You
Um,
don't need to say it. Come on. You don't need to say it. Everyone knows already.
no, I just wanted to say that we can relate. When I say
Yeah.
we, both Juris and I have bombed out before. But yeah, like, but the focus on you. So do you want to take us through that, like how it was, and then I'll try and mention
Yeah.
what Dom said. But yeah, go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like after you bomb, it's all uphill, up from there. So it's
Yeah.
good.
Uh,
But that was under 64 kilo comp, and it was my first kind of international competition.
yeah.
in Sydney, Australia, and it was at a big fitness expo. So there are lots of people around, all
Pressure's
very
high.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I squatted all right, and then bench was feeling okay. It felt a little bit harder than it should when we were warming up. But the number was 85 kilos, and I've done that before. It's been my second attempt 6 months prior. And my max at the time was 92. And I just got stuck. Like, it just got stuck.
Oh, was it bench?
As I was pushing off. It was bench.
Oh,
it was
my
bench
God.
that got me. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And at the time, you actually didn't even know what
I had no idea. No idea. I went into that comp wanting to come away with the win, obviously.
Yeah.
Then second time, I missed it again. And I just thought, I'm not going to miss this again. You know, I've done this before. How could I miss this again?
Yeah.
And you can, and I did. And then I got angry. And I was like, what the F is going on? And then the third one, the same thing happened again. And I just, missed it. And then I literally just thought, I did lift enough to still win. So I just have to pull 205 and I'm still going to win.
Oh, so you didn't know that bench count?
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that I was disqualified.
But so how many years into your lifting did that happen? Was it like the first year?
1 year. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've done it for a year, and then it was.
And then it was that. Was that when you started getting more? I would say, I don't know, like more well versed with the rules, because for you to just be like, like I did, you didn't know that I was bombing out, to like now be like, snap, like didn't know that counted.
So when did you find that you bomb out? When did you find that?
Afterwards.
Oh shit! So you did the deadlift, and then they told you that you didn't place.
Who told you? Who told you?
I think it was Dom, and I don't even remember what happened in that moment, but that night it wasn't a fun banquet for me.
Oh no. It's amazing. So
how did he drop it though? Was it just like, hey, like, was it just casual, or was it like he tried to like get you in the right mindset to hear it? Or
I can't even remember. I think I just asked, like, where did I place? Because I didn't end up getting the 205. I held on to it forever, and they had to tell me to put it down. And I think he just said, oh, no, you got disqualified because you didn't get any bench. And I was like,
oh shit. And obviously since then it hasn't happened again, right? Like no bombing out. Yeah, I mean, from what I see, your records are a bit, from what I saw, like I don't think they're complete, because from what, like, obviously I tried to do research on like open powerlifting and open IPF, and like when it's sort of like just nationals and no like regional, divisional, I'm thinking there's something missing here. So I feel a bit bad that I'm underprepared. I could have asked Dom as to what your history was, but then I thought, nah, I want to be surprised from you myself, and get you talking a bit more about like your history. But now that we're like, you've done 5 years like under your belt, bar the COVID lockdown like period, you weren't exactly competing. Now that you are, New Zealand's back to like running comps, you're totaling ridiculous, like 590. I know we were discussing before the recording started that it's still more than me. And I tried. I honestly tried. Man. But I was like 2.5 kilos off. Was it 2.5 kilos off?
So close.
Do you know what it was?
I mean, it's not even my fault, because I asked him. I said, "Do you want to match Karlina's total?"
No. Oh my! Don't lie.
Or you want to beat it?
No, don't lie. Because the aim was, I wonder if I could get 600. And like during the squats, I was like wishy-washy. I was like, I just want to get qualifying total for next year for the nationals that we have. But then along the way, I was like, oh, this is feeling kind of good. And then towards the end, I was like, nah, this is not feeling kind of good. I was just like, and then so yeah, no, that's why I'm at this moment in time, Karlina, you're you're on GOAT status when it comes to our team,
Oh.
along with Joy and everyone else. But yeah, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, like you totaled 590 at the last New Zealand
Nationals.
yes,
Yeah.
and obviously you've got Commonwealths coming up. Literally around the same time obviously us in this continent have Euros.
Right.
I believe it's around the same time.
Oh yeah.
Agatha, right, is doing Euros. I forget if she's doing 84s.
She's doing, unfortunately,
84s.
she's doing as a 84. She's not doing it as a 76. But one of the reasons because of she doesn't want to push the world record. But however, she mentioned on the podcast, Karlina, you heard her. She said it doesn't really matter because Karlina is going to smash it at the Commonwealth. So is it something you're looking forward to smash?
Very much so. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Everyone's talking about Sheffield and wanting to protect the world records, but I don't have a reason to sandbag it at this point. So let's just send it to the moon.
That's a very interesting. Yeah, can you hear me fine?
Just Mo, let's have you back, bro.
Yeah. Come back in, mate.
Thank you.
Go. Shoot all your questions, bro. Shoot all your questions.
I was just gonna ask, so if you're planning on doing Commonwealth, but there's a very high potential that you might get the invite for Sheffield. So wouldn't you be working against yourself if you completely set something like 610, for example? Just setting it really high. Wouldn't you be shooting yourself in the foot for Sheffield if you do get that invite?
I would be. And so I hope they send invites out soon. Well, I had it on a pretty good source that they wanted to announce the athletes chosen this month. So I'm not thinking that they want to wait for Commonwealths, which is sad for me. But the consolation is just pushing the world record.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, so your mindset for the Commonwealth is, because I'm not getting in there, I'm just gonna ruin it for everybody.
That's really mean, but I don't have a motivation not to. Why would I hold myself back?
Yeah, that's what we like to hear.
That's good.
So, I mean, I got a question. I got a little bit further back. I know we came straight talking about you currently now, what's happening now, but I'm going to bring you back a bit in the past, because I know you were in a different federation and now you are in the only real powerlifting federation in the world. So how does it feel to be in a proper pool of strong people that are real?
Oh, it hits different. It's pretty amazing. You know, I've always looked across to the IPF for my whole time that I was on the other side, and looking up to Jess and looking up to Kimberly and, other lifters at that time, like Isabella and Annika, and now to sort of be on their level is, it's where I always wanted to be, and to be here now, it just feels so good. And I just can't wait to finally get to Worlds and match with them and compete with them. And
I'm not gonna
beat
lie.
them as well, so don't forget that. Beat them as well.
And beat them.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited because it's literally gonna test a good part of you. Because like you said, you did the Sydney as an international, but obviously this time around the flight is longer to, even if it's Sheffield, it's here in the UK. Right, that's, I don't know, like I think that's like a whole day of flying. Literally 24 hours,
25, 30 hours.
But man, like sitting down for long durations, you're gonna be doing hip stretches and the layovers, the getting adjusted to the time zone, like so many factors. Like obviously Mo can attest to this, Julian's can attest to this. When you're doing long distance flights and then having to do internationals, it's a whole different story. So that's that. I think like what we said in our previous podcast, it literally sets the game apart, because you can like for example we had we're gonna post this after Panna, so I can say this, but we had Panna on and he was discussing things about Joe Jordan posted 700 total, like when he did the USVI nationals. That's amazing. Can't take that away from him, but to replicate the same performance, like in the world stage where there was traveling involved, the water or weight cut was like done in not in a comfortable scene, like it's entirely different. Like have you thought into that? I don't know if that's like something you sort of are worried about, but what's coach saying? I know he'd love to come with you, even though he did mention he's having a big day sometime later this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Married.
but
Getting ready, had to be in a wedding.
yeah. But yeah, so what's your take on the whole, like, man, there's obviously it's completely different. Like traveling, doing internationals. Like, is coach going with you, going with your partner? Yeah. So what's
I
the
have
game
thought about
plans?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've thought about it. Game plans will come closer, but obviously I haven't traveled to compete before, but I have traveled quite a bit and done all those long haul flights and gotten like quite a good sleep routine. So I've been able to switch over time zones in the past. So I'll just be keeping that same routine. But also, you know, it's the world champs and I'm fortunate enough to go early because I'm going to need to. You know, I'm not going, I'm going to win. So I'm going to put all of my effort into getting there as early as I can so that I can switch over and be as comfortable as I can.
To acclimatize.
To acclimatize. My family are going to come. So my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my partner, they're all
pretty much the whole clan.
The whole clan.
Yeah.
I come with a lot of people. So
yeah.
They've opened up their Malta accounts and started saving.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll be very lucky to have that support with me. I sit close to 76 anyway. So like 2 months out, I'm training at 77 kilos. So that won't be a big that won't be that's just a gut weight cut for me.
It could be the opposite though. It could be the opposite that could happen. Like that traveling could get your body weight mad lower than you're used to.
I heard that with Sophia, that she lost like 2 kilos.
I mean, like I don't know if anything being vegan has anything to do with it.
True.
Yeah. But I don't think you are, right?
I lost body weight while I was in South Africa. Like I was eating to maintain. Actually.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, if I wasn't eating properly, I'd have dropped to like 1 or 2, give or take.
I mean, you mentioned saving up for Malta, but are they saving up for Sheffield as well? Because I mean, it's still a possibility, you know.
I guess me going to Sheffield helps them save for Malta.
Oh yeah, true. You know?
See, they say there's a saying that a famous actor said, with great strength come great responsibility. So, and you mentioning your family, partners, everybody else coming to you is telling me Karlina is coming to win. She's not coming to mess around. So the 76, they better get themselves ready for that Malta battle. And I'm sure I'm right to say that, right?
For sure. Yeah. They're coming to take gold home.
You know, I actually want to see that. Like, I've actually never heard like Kiwis like cheer on like hard like that.
Ooh.
So
it's
that should be yes, exactly. Like I've only like overheard it like through the videos that you posted, but I want to see it for myself. It should be so sick to watch.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
The other one, like another context, like I know we're all excited in Malta, and then we're excited them seeing you at the Commonwealth. I know you mentioned about probably no holding back, going all out at the Commonwealth. So, are we sitting here expecting a particular number that do you have in your head? Are you thinking I'm gonna be hitting this at the Commonwealth, or is it just going? Do you know what? As I mentioned, I'm just gonna mess up everything for everybody. As Mo said, they hit 6'10", and then good luck to Jessica at Sheffield.
Let's see. If I didn't go 6 for 9 at nationals, I would have.
You weighed in mad light though. You weighed in mad light.
Did I? 75?
Yeah, you were like.
No, she was 75.4.
75.4. She was all right. She wasn't that light.
Wait, what? Somewhere I read you were 74.6.
That would
That
have
was
been ages ago.
2020.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, my
2020
bad,
Yeah.
nationals.
my bad.
Yeah.
Sorry. 2020?
Yeah.
You had a nationals in 2020? That was COVID
Yeah, because
year.
New Zealand, they did it
Yes.
before, like not everyone competed, did they? They started the nationals and then cut it off because the
Yeah.
government announced.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So 75.4, there was still room. I think you got cut too well.
Yeah, this is a new realm for me,
Mhm.
not having to cut, and so I'm still learning, and I did make a few mistakes in the last one that didn't help me. So yeah, I'm still learning how to make weight when you're at maintenance.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Usually, when there's
Yeah.
like, if you have to lose, like you have to do less or like eat
Yeah.
less, even consume less. But
Yeah.
in most cases, if you're eating to maintain, you're gonna have to like eat more to
Yeah.
weigh the right amount, I suppose. So
Yeah, it was
that's
weird in South Africa though, because there was a lot of protein sources. Like there was loads of meat, there was loads of like food, but then there was not enough carbs. Like it was a struggle for me to find carbs. So I think if you're trying to maintain a heavier weight, that's obviously what you'll want to focus on, the carb intake.
So going back to that number, Karlina, I know if you hit your numbers at the nationals, you would have hit that big 610 plus, right? So is it what we're looking for Commonwealth, or are we looking forward to make it even juicier than that?
I would say 610 plus is a safe bet.
in Commonwealth.
Yeah.
That's how many weeks? 12 odd weeks? No.
15 or 14?
15 odd weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
I'll
gonna
just
lie.
say, or just take a few training videos and just send it to SPD and just be like, just for your consideration.
just to give you a peace in mind.
I'm here.
Just to let you know, this is what's going on over here.
I think it will, the 76 kg class, realistically speaking, I think Leah Bavwilversel's Leah Bavagren Lau, Tiffany Chiffon Gren Lau will be amazing to see at the Sheffield invite. But a 76 kg battle between you, Agatha, and Jessica Bittner will probably be hands down one of the biggest battles that will ever go down in that competition if he goes through.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm kind of worried about that. Karlina, don't get me wrong. I would love to see you go against Agatha and Jessica at Sheffield. I'm worried it would take a lot out of the IPF world, because if these three battle at Sheffield, where they exchange world record back to back, and they will have only 12 weeks before World, right? And yeah, because Sheffield is in March, and then World is in June, and 12 weeks before World. And I'm not going to Sheffield. I'm coming. I'll be on the front row, by the way, to watch. Right, I got my ticket, be in the front row to watch. But I will be at World, whether the British team likes it or not. I will be at World, right? And I want a World to be exciting, and then I want that battle free. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna be selfish.
Yeah,
I want that battle at World.
Oh yeah, for free, not paying like extortionate amount for tickets. Like Sheffield, boy.
I do believe that it's Karlina is going to push the standards 100%, but Jessica and Agatha are still evolving. Like Jessica can make so much progress on the bench, and Agatha is 19. Like her rate of progression will be insane. So I think even if the battle happened in Sheffield and somebody became the winner at Worlds, there will be potentially a change in who gets to win that competition, and it'll be a case of who can recover and adapt the best in terms of coaching. All the little things that matter will actually dictate who really wins that World's position. But I think Sheffield, it's for the money meet. Like they've got to get their fees, they got to get that money. So
yeah,
let them
Karlina,
get their money.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about like, you know what? I could get paid like handsomely.
You can walk away with 50 grand pound. I'm talking about. I'm not talking about New Zealand dollars.
Yeah,
50 grand,
yeah.
50,000 pounds.
I mean, how do you not want a piece of that?
Yeah.
They've done that. They've done it to themselves. They've put this like big golden bag of money in front of us, and then said, and also Worlds is 12 weeks later. You're like, what do you do?
I mean, did you ever think that, when you first started competing, that you thought, I might get money from this. Like, did it ever enter your mind that that could happen?
No, I was too busy thinking about how much money it took out of me.
We all thought about that, and some of us still thinking about that.
I mean, now that you can get monies from it, like you're actually like, you know what, I'm not. Are you enjoying it more, or what? Or like, is it?
It's made it more interesting, just like with what everyone's posting right now, even with all their lists, and the conversation is really interesting. It's making it feel like a more professional sport. The stuff that you see going on with other sports, it's pretty cool to see it happening.
You know,
now.
I'm so happy you mentioned that, because I know you said like after Sheffield, 12 weeks later is Worlds, and I'm not trying to say I'm an advocate for everything our coach Dom says, but he says like if you're an athlete, like you stay ready, right? It's like like NBA players don't get to decide whether they're meant to have like time off, like, you know, from each and every game, or like football players or NFL players and everything. They stay ready. So even if it's 12 weeks later, he's gonna definitely say to you, stay ready, right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
I mean,
I guess I'm just gonna have to I don't know,
get your
aim for something
recovery game
even
on
higher.
point. And get your recovery game on point.
Yeah.
Like probably take
think-
like ice baths or something.
Also, I think, I mean, if you go Sheffield, if you have the chance, you go the invites that. I mean, to be fair, Mo can back me on this. Pretty much, I've watched all the King of the Lift story, and 80% of the story people backing you, Agatha, and Jessica Fight, right? So hopefully, SPD, Ben Banks, Aaron, everyone are listening, right? What we want is just the fire. So if you see that 50K in the bank account come end of April, I'm sure he's going to push you for World to push. So you're going to go to Sheffield again for another 50K. So probably retire in the next few years. Going, my question is going back to just the Battle of 76, which is exciting. We all know that. How did it make you feel? Because you missed that award last year just by a small margin, right? How did you feel when you missed that sport award last year?
Last year or this year?
I mean,
This year.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about it. Look, what is history to me? Yeah, this year.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah.
How did you make you feel?
How did I feel after I saw what those girls did?
After you saw the battle and you missed that battle by that margin.
Yeah. A major FOMO. I was just like, oh my gosh, that battle, I could have been there, but there's always another comp. And so I had to just remember that and be patient. And
you know what?
keep working.
I'm gonna ask. When the battle comes, right? Sheffield, 2023 Worlds, whatnot. Where would you place each individual between you, Jess, and Agatha? Who's first, second, and third?
Are you forgetting the other 76? Come on, we have got so many 76. Top 5.
Okay,
let's go.
No.
Top 5.
No. Let's not
She's
pressure
only
her.
breaking her sweat out. That's too much.
Yeah, that's too many names to consider. Top 3, that's it. Like, you're in the hot seat now, Karlina. Welcome to SABADO Sessions podcast.
Just name straight. No, don't give an explanation. Just name straight.
First, second, third. Who?
First?
No, me. I'm going to put myself first.
Okay, cool.
And then...
No, you have every right to. But yeah, who's second and third now?
Whoa.
Agatha.
Okay, and then
Jess.
Number 3.
But it's this 1, 2, 3 that kind of goes like this, and it's not like a list that goes down.
But
the way you did that list, to me, it looks like you went down. You, Agatha.
No, he did. Jess. She did though. She said her.
Yeah.
She said herself first.
Yeah.
So okay, cool. So if they ever catch wind of this, get ready for Sheffield and Worlds.
So watching that battle award, Karlina, did you sit at home thinking, shit, I could have won this?
For sure. Going into it, I thought I could win it. So seeing it happen and seeing them battle. And it was amazing. It was to see Jess do that deadlift. Oh my God, like, is she human? So it was amazing to see. But knowing that they battled for that, and on a bad day I get 590. I
Yo,
can't think. Yeah.
I was literally about to say that, because when Jonas asked that question, you didn't even have to think twice. In a heartbeat, you'd have been like, you literally said, yeah, I could have won. Like, on a bad day, 6 for 9 day, like, you could have won.
Are you in this 76 class thinking, I want to raise the bar so high to the point where it's almost impossible for others to catch? When I mean others, yes, I know we mentioned Agatha, she's young, she's still growing into the sport. We had her here, we spoke about it. She said she wanted to stay in the 76 for quite a very long time. And we've seen, I mean, more, you're the one that did the post about how achievement so far is, I've never seen a power lifter with that much achievement at that age. You know, maybe I'm wrong because I haven't been in the sport for a while, but what I'm seeing is kind of like I've seen Messi, right? People that saw Maradona say Maradona was the best, but me, I will tell you, bullshit. No one can touch Messi because Messi is my era. So when I look at Agatha, what Agatha is doing, I know you're a strong woman, Jess is a strong woman, but at the moment, her achievement over-trumped all of you guys in terms of what she achieved across the board. Is it what is coming to your mind thinking, let me raise the bar so those achievements are almost redundant?
Yes.
To summarize, be like, yeah.
I mean, you put it pretty well, but I've always been a believer of shooting as high and as like unrealistic as possible, because then where you fall, it's probably going to be at the top if you do that. So, I mean, who's the best? It's Taylor Atwood, and I've ran numbers and thought, what is it going to be like to beat Taylor Atwood? And if I shoot for that, then I'm not going to fall too far from where I want to be.
I'm not gonna lie, I've never done that because I'm not at that stage yet, but
Oh, hold on, Joey, hold on, before you ask your question, hold on. You just mentioned Taylor Harwood there, right? This is Taylor Harwood, you just said, right? The best power lifter of all time across all weight class, including people that are cheating, right? People that murdered, murderers, people are demons, or even Satan himself. Taylor is the best, right?
Yeah.
So you said you're shooting for, this is what I mentioned in the beginning. What is up with these 76 comparing yourself to male lifters? Is it because in your own weight class there's no one? Because we had Agatha here, right? Joey mentioned one thing about Agatha, especially in Poland. Agatha was like, yeah, I compete against the man. I just don't know what
not compete, but that's who she compares herself to.
Comparing herself, not compete.
Or the men compare themselves to her, because like Agatha has no challenge with the other 76ers in Poland. I think it's the same for you.
Is it the same for you? Because I'm sure it's the same for Jess in Canada. She's probably thinking, oh, I'm going to compare myself to King Cuff and the rest. So is it that's what you guys do?
It seems like it, doesn't it? Well, they're the best. And I don't think we should put ourselves in a box to just who's the best in our weight class. Who's the best?
Exactly.
Who? No, but what female, what male?
But my question was, you're the best 76 in New Zealand, like by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the entire region, mate, not just New Zealand.
Oh yeah, in entire Oceania, right? Yeah. So that's why you're seeking out like people from Europe, people from North America, or Canada. It's like that you want a piece of them, don't you? Like, no, literally, that's literally how it is. It's like, well, I can't be number one in a small pond. I want to be number one in the biggest pond there is and be the big fish here.
So when you're looking at like people like Taylor, well, you mentioned there in the beginning, again, sorry about these many questions about Taylor, because to me, I'm sitting here sweating as soon as you mentioned Taylor, right? I had goosebumps. So
I've got a very interesting question to actually tag onto this.
Yeah, does this mean you're looking at Taylor IPF point thinking, can I beat that?
Yeah.
I've got an interest because for you to beat Taylor's 123.42 IPF geo points, you need above 620 to 630 kg total. Looking
Yeah.
at your recent meet, I'll probably say you're very good for somewhere between 6'10", 6'15", right? So how would you break that split between squat, bench, and deadlift for your 630 kg total? What lifts are you most confident that you take you towards that?
Yeah. Squat and deadlift, obviously most confident with over bench.
Okay.
I would have to squat 230. And yeah, I think give me a year and I will.
Okay.
I'd have to bench 140, and Agatha's forced me to have that goal. You know, I want to be a well-rounded lifter.
The
And
way
she's
she
benching
moves bench
145
with ease, I saw that last night, and I was just like, wow. I tried warming up with
150.
this. I know. Oh yeah, 150. It was 150, right?
Yeah.
I did that yesterday, and I was struggling.
And it got stuck. So Karlina, what about the deadlifts? Or coming back to Mo's question?
Yeah, it would have to be 260.
Wow, you've done the numbers.
Which you attempted already.
You've done the numbers.
It's etched in my head.
Oh. Don't you think though that's gonna hinder you a little bit though? Like when you, I don't know. Sometimes when people focus too much on the numbers, they get almost too like tunnel vision almost, or too fixated on that number that
I think when you're the level Karlina is.
Oh, okay, fine, fair enough. I'm definitely not at that level, so yeah, that's a fair point.
She's not doing a one-on-one battle with anyone. If you're talking 630, I mean, she's far ahead, so she needs motivation to keep on pushing.
Because when we run those numbers, right, 230 squats, you attempted 220, right? Within 12 months, for you to get that 10 kilo extra is doable, right? And you said 140 bench, you've done 124, and in the gym, you've probably done a bit more than that. So you're not far off there as well. We're talking about 7.5 kilo here. The deadlift, you are just there. On that day on the national, you were just unlucky. You know, if you got a good day, that 260 flies. So it's kind of like, as much as you totaled 590, but the numbers you're talking, they're not unrealistic. They're there. It's not like us thinking, how am I going to get bloody 840? How is Mo going to total 960 kilo to break the world record?
Yeah, I've never even thought about that one yet.
So we're looking at these numbers thinking, oh, mate, there's still 40 kilos ahead of me. Do you know what I mean? But your numbers, they're there. Although, like, again, as I said, 590 and 630 is 40 kilos, which seems a lot. But our viewers wouldn't understand. We just feel like, what is she talking about? She just talked to 590 and she's talking about 630 here. But when we run through the numbers that you already done and the one that you miss, it's not far.
Yeah.
You know? So your goal about Taylor. So Taylor Howard better watch out. Karlina is coming.
Oh my God. I don't know if I'm ready for whatever that was coming my way.
No, but like you got to brace yourself for that too. If you're preparing yourself to get to that level, you got to prepare for what's to come upon achieving that. You're gonna get mad attention. You're getting attention now, but you just got to multiply it by however many times Taylor Atwood gets attention for. You're gonna have to come up with your own slogan, like forget the belt or something like that, instead of respect the belt.
Because Taylor said, what did Taylor said? I'm not your friend, I'm here to beat you. And probably Karlina would be, I am your friend, but I'm here to ruin your dreams as well. That is interesting. That is really interesting. I'm kind of excited, and now I'm looking forward to watch you now. And I wouldn't mind even if I have to stay 4 a.m. in the morning just to watch your national. Right? I think
thanks.
I think it's exciting. Anyone who are great, when you see numbers like that and numbers like that being thrown left, right, center, it's just entertaining to watch, right? So apart from I know we named the 76, we named the big hitters in the world and all of that stuff. You moved to the Real Powerlifting Federation, which I mentioned in the beginning. So when you moved in, apart from the ladies, was there a power lifter or a group of people or a nation you were watching thinking, wow, they are impressive because there's something goes around, aka France supposedly have got shooters. I loosely said that supposedly has got shooters. The reason I'm saying that because I'm a competitor myself, and we want to have shooters in Britain as well. And I believe we do. Was you watching other nation thinking, wow, they're impressive. We have to watch out. Is there some nations that you're actually keeping close to your heart right now?
Moving to the IPF, I didn't follow it so closely, but now I'm following a lot more people. I think not one nation in particular, but of course you mentioned France, the US, Canada with Jess. I look at all of them, and because they all have the potential to get overalls. It's not just about weight classes, it's about overalls as well. And who are those people that can get that? And what do I need to do to get past that? But honestly, even people I don't know are coming. You know, there's me. There's proof that you can come out of nowhere, and do things that nobody was expecting. So the thought of not knowing what's out there and what this money might bring out from the shadows, that it also keeps me motivated. I'm like, who else?
Hopefully, it
coming?
doesn't bring too much darkness from the shadows. There.
I made that sound real dark.
You don't know about what the dark side of the moon is covering. You know what I mean? You never know. So
you know what? I noticed you didn't mention GB. You just mentioned
because we are shit.
I mean,
compared to the nations she just mentioned there, we're nowhere near to France or the US.
In her class or in?
I'm talking about nations.
Oh, just nations.
A to Z.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not there yet. I mean, the thing is, again, as I said, we are a good powerlifting nation. We are good, but we can't sit here and lie to ourselves thinking we're in the top 3. We're not. We're still far behind.
You know what? I just want to ask Karlina quickly. Sponsorships, like, it must have been flying your way, but with the attention you've been garnering. Yes? No?
I wouldn't say flying, but I was surprised with SBD. So that one came a few months ago, and that was,
I think it's about damn time.
Yeah. But I'm grateful, very grateful.
Yeah, like
how does that feel?
Sponsored by Virus?
Oh yeah, and Virus. I've been with Virus for a couple of years now. So love their apparel. But yeah, Virus and SBD. But I also don't. I probably don't pay enough attention to it too, just with working and not trying so hard. But as hard as I could. But no, not. I don't know that it's that big in New Zealand, like sponsorships flying at people. But
okay.
That's not my experience anyway.
Well, how does it make you feel like, because again, we know like powerlifting for some nations or some people's eyes is not a professional sport. People still understand what is that? How do you do that? How does it look like? So how does it make you feel like now you go, because Virus and SPD are big name into strength sport. So having the support behind you, how does that make you feel?
It definitely made me start to feel a bit more professional in the sport that I'm in. And I used to spell athlete with an F because I didn't, when I would put it in my stories, because I felt like kind of like a fake athlete, like I was just doing this for fun. And that's just an aside note. But when they started coming in and when I started doing what I'm doing, then I could just really actually embrace that full title and be like, yes, I'm an athlete and I'm
with a
a national champ. Yeah, with a TH, not an F.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, it's made a big difference.
Like it's when you got the SBD one, I'm hoping you don't have an NDA or anything for this, like I said with Mo and because I know Mo is backed by SBD, Durance is backed by SBD, but obviously now you're looking at internationals. Sheffield could be on the way. Definitely Worlds next year. Like, would you say like it's such a convenience for SBD to have your back, like covering expenses?
Yeah. Oh, it feels that way, you know, because now I don't feel so pressured that my family have put their hands up to come, because I know that that pressure's taken off me and I can help them come as well. So it's just not something I need to think about now. Like, do I need to do extra shifts, or do I need to fundraise? Not have, and maybe even can I take a little bit more time off than I plan to prepare for Worlds? So it's made a huge difference to what I can do to prepare for Worlds.
What's your game plan? Like, how early do you want to, I would say, arrive at the location, like Malta or even Sheffield? If like how early on would you say, like at least a week?
I would say a week. I feel like a week, arriving a week before, because obviously you lose a couple of days in transit.
Yeah.
So leaving 9-10 days before to get there a week, and then whatever hurdles are coming, hopefully I've got enough time to deal with them and acclimatize.
That means you got to train at least once or twice.
Yeah. I'll have probably twice or once.
So say Sheffield comes along.
Somewhere.
Say Sheffield comes along, you're gonna train in Sheffield or London. I mean, London's relatively near, and you know, Durrance and I are kind of nearby.
And Joey's a good driver as well.
From Sheffield, I think it's like hour and a half, right, Jay? Durrance?
From London to
Sheffield. Be further.
Sheffield.
Because
Sheffield would be 2 hours, I reckon.
2 hours.
Oh, 2 hours. Okay, yeah.
2 hours, 2 hours, 30 minutes. It's past like Leeds, isn't it? So
yeah. But the way Joey drive, he's a very pretty good driver, better than a lot of
1.5 hours
around there. Yeah, better than a lot of Uber drivers that day. So you've come to London, you're safe.
Yeah.
What? You compare me to an Uber driver?
I'm just saying better than them.
What?
like how many stars are we talking?
Bro, I'll give him
5.
Is it water?
I'll give him 5 because I always get a lift, so I don't want to miss that.
You get that Fiji water.
Fiji water, wow.
Yeah, get that Fiji water.
Karlina, I have a very quick question. I have 2 main questions. The first one is I'm scrolling through your training, and I have a question about your training. So you work as a GP doctor or a general practitioner. So do you normally tend to train after work?
I take 1 full day off just to be able to train. So that's how I get that main session in, and then I'll finish early on another day to get to training. The gym's an hour away from where I work, so that's why I had to do it that way. But I take this lifting thing very seriously, and I'm in a very fortunate position where I can do that, where I can adjust my hours to give me the best chance of training. But it just means it's super rigid. Those are the only days it gets done, and I can't do anything outside of it. Yeah.
But it's the same days. Sorry, it's the
same days. Yeah.
Okay.
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
That's very impressive. I think one thing that I work and Durrance works and also Joey works. So it's always very tricky for open lifters to balance work, and especially for your work, which would be like the general practitioner, more hours and more intense. Because I've seen your story sometime. You have like serious cases inside the hospital that you have to, there's that mental load and fatigue you have to deal with, and then take that into training and have to switch on. So that's very impressive to hear. And my second question is looking at your training towards, I think it was Auckland powerlifting in March 2022. You squatted 215 kg in the competition, but your best double was 201 kg in the gym. Right. Before your recent competition, you attempted a 220 kg double. So do you normally tend to see like a massive, I just wanted to know on your training side, because what I noticed as a person, because I normally train in the evening after work, we normally have, if I hit a very good solid double or number in training, because I know I have that fatigue from work going into the training session, I normally see a massive positive correlation to my competition squat. Right, so I was wondering if you have something similar, because you had a 201 double squat at 215 in competition. You almost attempted a 220 kg double. So were you expecting something in the range of 227, 230?
Yeah, we were, I think, yes, that's what the idea behind it is. That was an off-program 220, not mine, Dom's. So he hadn't planned it actually, because that day it was 2:15 was the maximum prescribed.
Yeah.
And he got a bit excited.
How often does that happen though?
Maybe once a program, once a session, once a block.
Once a block?
Yeah, once a block.
Once a block. So, no, wow. That's interesting.
Don't worry, Joey, it's not happening with you because I'm not spotting you. Carry on, Karlina, go on.
But we definitely felt that 220 was going down, and that we would try for 225 to be safe. But it didn't work out that way.
That's fair enough, because even your 212 double before, because you did a 212, didn't you? And then you did the 220 attempt.
Yes.
So you must have been very fatigued from work plus that combination, and then going for 220. You would have expected a massive. It happens, but we're very excited to see what your squad turns out.
That was the best place for it to happen.
I mean, let's just follow up this question that Majid opened, like kind of worm right there. So when you said you attempted, I can't even say it because I know some men right here can't even attempt a 220 double. So when you attempted that, is it a big SBD day or is just a squat day? Because one thing about me, I mean, by the way, if you didn't know, my Joey coaches me. Dom coach Joey, Joey coach me. So I don't know how I can relate to that, but yeah, I can do. So it kind of like, well, I'm Dom grandson or something like that. So weird to say that. So because me, I do get big SPD days. When I do my doubles, I mean, Joey knows, when I do my doubles, it's from the big SPD days. I can't just do a big double squat, big double deadlift, big double bench. Funny enough, I'm not going to lie to you. If you ask, you prescribe a big double squat on me, I go and do it. I fail. I literally can't do it because my mindset is I have to get this squat out of the way because I go bench and I go deadlift. So it means that squat have to fly because bench is coming. But if he just tells me, Jay, you go, let's say 270 squat today, 4, I would not get 4 reps. But if he said to me 274 bench and deadlift, I will make that 270 fly. So you're coming back to you. Is it just the squat alone, or you had that big SPD for you to double the 220?
I'll never do an SPD with a heavy squat or deadlift. So after those heavy squats is like a moderate to heavy bench after that. But yeah, my SBD days are usually like quite light with a heavy bench.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely different from whatever he gives me.
Yeah, I think mine is just different to most people in our squad.
Yeah, like I think you're getting that special treatment right there.
But you get the face to face as well, isn't it? Because the thing is, like, he's watching and he can easily probably prescribe. But with Joey, he's sending videos. Like all the videos he's sending, he's getting the squat, he's getting the bench, he's getting the deadlift. So with him, he's thinking, oh, he has a strength for this. Why not? He can do it. But forgetting, like, Karlina just attempted 220 double. How many 66 in the UK can do that?
Like 1.
That is pretty impressive right there. So I mean, so because you do your big lifts separate days, so do you think that benefits you in some sense?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's why it's done that way for me, because I do need quite a lot of time to recover. Even from heavy deadlifts, I need quite a bit of time to recover from that as well. The DOMs are just like quite severe for a few days before I can get started again.
But like your recovery though, just want to touch on this, like, I don't know, that's just a little bit. So the track food, track everything, is that how it is? And hydration? Like what's the, I don't know, the intake saying, what the macros and everything that you're doing right now?
So I do like semi-track because when I was cutting to 72, like I was weighing track weight. I still weigh, but I was tracking everything to a T. And so now kind of know what it looks like what 1800 calories looks like versus 16 for me, because I'm a creature of habit. I eat the same thing all the time, and that's fine for me. I don't need to have much variety, so it's really easy to track things. But yeah, making sure I get enough protein and carbs and just a little bit of fat, lots of water and hydration. Sleep is a massive one for me, like huge. So
yeah, of course.
always working really hard on my sleep. And if I know that a big day is coming, I'm trying to make sure that I manage stress levels, that I'm trying to get everything as good as possible for that
I don't know,
day.
man. Like Majid said, you work as a general practitioner. Your days look stressful. Like you're dealing with different people. Yeah, exactly. I try to be diplomatic about that one, but yeah, you're dealing with different people every time you're working. That they're not always going to be I don't know what's a polite way of saying this.
Misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we see people when they're most in need or when they're at their darkest points in their life sometimes, and it's really heavy. But powerlifting has kind of been that balance for me, where I can just
not as heavy
offload.
as your lifts, though. Not as heavy as your lifts.
Yeah. So yeah, powerlifting is that out for me. I can switch off and just lift some weights, and then I can go back feeling like I've reset myself and I've offloaded all of that. It works. It's such a good balance for me.
Yeah. Would you say that the retiring of the 72 class and then the introduction of the 76 class benefited you a lot?
Oh, massively. Yeah, hugely.
You didn't want to.
I didn't expect it to be this good as well. I didn't expect it to work or fit me so well. Because 72s, I used to have to eat into it, and then I started having to cut down to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it just never was like, it just didn't feel like home, and I always felt like I was doing less than I felt I wanted to do. But embracing the 76s, I just feel like now I can fulfill my potential.
So there was never a point where you were like, ooh, maybe 69s?
No,
Wait,
never.
Okay.
You competed as a 64 early in your career, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I kind of got caught up in that initial, like, everyone must cut and everyone does cuts to get down here, and a little bit of running away from who was at the top of 72 at the time. But it just comes with the confidence, I guess. The more you do, if you're willing to take that step into eating up and all the stuff that comes with it.
Yeah, exactly.
But you get strong too.
I mean, that's when we had Majid on, he literally said pretty much along those lines. He had to, was Mo? Yeah, you pretty much had to find the confidence to move up, right? And just
yes. And when I first started as a powerlifter, it was like my coach was basically, because I think when you start off and if you're sitting in a weight class, you don't necessarily think, I want to move to the next weight class. I either want to stay in this weight class or even cut down. And then my coach was just like, based off your height, based off your leverages and long-term progression. Because if you want to stay in the sport for 10 plus years, you can't stay in the same weight class for 10 years and expect to still make progress. So it was just like, you've got to move up straight away. So we've kind of done this 6-year slow build into the 105s.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar to what's been going on for me. I think it might be like a little bit harder for some male coaches to do that with their female athletes too, just because it comes with some other stuff as well.
Of course.
He kind of just always spoke around people that, if it was his choice, he'd get everyone to move up. So I think that kind of like just puts this idea in some of our minds that, maybe this is something
how does he do it though? Does he drop little things like, if you didn't have to cut, you'd be able to lift X amount of weight? Is it like that?
Yeah.
He
definitely does that with the guys.
I knew it.
When you mentioned about the ladies there, well, look, in here we don't have what do you call it? We don't hold back. When you said male coaches, it's hard sometimes to tell the female athletes to move. Is it because the saying or thinking, or the female might be thinking, okay, I don't want to be fat going up, I'm going to gain a lot of fat, and I don't want to look fat because my image is better than I better look nicer than be strong. Is it that way?
For sure, there's definitely that's one of the biggest elements of it. And I think that's why a big reason why we females choose to just cut, even though there's kind of no reason behind it, especially at the beginning when we don't understand the sport and the strength that comes with being at your weight, your natural weight, or even going up a bit higher. And again, like with Mo, then the confidence that you build the more you compete. Yeah.
So what as a top tier athlete yourself now, you experience both sides in terms of like forcing yourself to cut and just saying, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna gain weight and be strong and go and beat Jessica and Agatha because it's coming. They have to wait for it. So what advice would you give to those lifters that are in that mindset where you were in the beginning in terms of thinking of the cutting or going up? What advice would you give them?
It is hard to give advice if you haven't been through it, but I think it's just really sit down and think about what you want out of the sport, and maybe not so much what might be going on around you, because there's a huge influence when you see people prepping for comp and they're all talking about cutting and being hungry and water loading, and so you kind of convince yourself that this is how it's done, this is normal. So I think just hopefully there's someone around them that can talk them through this, but just sitting down and thinking, I'm new to the sport, I just want to enjoy my first competitions, and then maybe I can start thinking about where I'm competitive.
True.
But I think certainly like in the first year, it shouldn't be something that you're trying so hard to do or doing it so much that it really affects your life negatively.
Yeah, of course. I think how you start definitely sets a trend for how the longevity you're gonna have for the sport. I think that's one of the factors, not saying the only factor, but one of the factors as to why I guess Durance and I have stayed in it for so long is because when we first started, we didn't worry about the whole weight cutting thing. I thought water loading was like, getting your water in for the day. Or like to be fair, like I was still relatively new to the whole like what were like sort of part and parcel in sport for others, not in general, I mean. And like we enjoyed it. I mean, we literally walk into comp, we never have to really cut down. After weigh-ins, we'd have like Mackies while everyone else was having like, I don't know, like these oats with like fruits and nuts in there, looking like rabbit food. I'm not judging. I'm not judging, but that's literally
That's my
what
breakfast.
No, don't get me wrong. I have my oats now, but it looks a bit more colorful than what I was seeing when we first started competing. And like on the flip side of that, I like what I was going to ask you is that obviously you started off. It's been 6 years now. Is there like a length of time that you've given yourself to be doing the sport? Is there like an end date and where you feel as though you're gonna hang up the, I don't know, not gloves, but like the wrist wraps or the belt or something?
It is hard when you're turning 30. You really actually have to think about these things.
Yo, that's me this year. Like, what you trying to say?
Told you that, mate. Told you your bones will start cracking after 30.
Durance, you're like 40, bro. Don't relax.
I know. I'm M1 soon. I know.
But yeah, is there like an end date for you, Karlina?
I don't think there's an end date yet, just because I feel like I'm just getting started. But I think I'll think about it after I've won 2 consecutive world champs.
Consecutive. So we're talking about 2023, 2024. So that is Karlina. So the 76, they might as well just fight for the second place.
I'm not gonna lie, knowing Dom, yeah, you might have to go for the 3-peat. Like, I don't know how that sounds to you, but that sounds exquisite.
Yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be a lot of like annoyed faces, Agatha, Jess, But
I know.
if that's how the cookie crumbles, that's how the cookie crumbles, like.
Yeah.
You gotta speak it into existence.
Yeah.
I'm trying to manifest that, like Team NZPA, mate. Like what?
Yes.
So, I mean, again, I
yeah.
mean, this brings me back to a question about the New Zealand team, the federation, right? I mean, when I joined powerlifting, even though he ignored my message, but when I joined powerlifting, it was Brett Gibbs, right? Brett Gibbs was New Zealand. You know,
Yes.
when you talk about New Zealand, if you, personally, I didn't know even any other powerlifter from New Zealand except Brett Gibbs. You know, I mean, we all watched the 2016. I'm sure you probably were not in the powerlifting then, but the 2016 battle between him, Hack, and Owen is the one that actually blew up powerlifting. So now, how do you feel now, you guys being part of that team? Almost, I mean, sorry to say this, no offense, but almost like the team shrinking and losing the fire that the New Zealand had. How do you guys feel about that? Is it something that you think, look, I'm going to take up on myself and rebuild this?
I didn't think about that before, but now you're just adding more fire to my flames. So maybe I will start thinking about it now.
Hell yeah.
I mean, yeah, I started powerlifting like after the Brett Gibbs kind of era, but learned very quickly about him when I joined. I think maybe, you know, if I can do this for New Zealand, then there's going to be some other lifters coming out who can see that they can do the same. Because that's what it took for me, is to see somebody do it that I relate to and then kind of think, why not me?
Yeah.
Speaking of why not you, how do you feel, like, arguably, right, that even though you haven't stepped on IPF international stage, that arguably you're bigger than Tim Monagatti? Like, how does that make you feel?
That's debate, bro. There's a lot of debate there, bro.
Yeah,
Bro,
I know.
no,
I
you
was
don't.
gonna
No,
say
no, you
Tim.
don't understand.
There,
You don't
bro.
understand.
Tim is
No,
Tim is
but the amount
Tim
of
is bigger than Delaney, bro.
but hold up. Like, the amount of, like, attention Karlina's getting in like, from what I've seen, maybe it's just subjective or right now, but from what I've seen, it's definitely more than what Tim's gotten. Like,
Tim has gone into hiding.
Team, because the team is not getting the attention because the team's battle with whoever team's going to be battling is not as fierce as Karlina, Agatha, and Jess. These guys are going for multiple world champion. Anyone slip, the other one win. But with Tim and Delaney, even if they battled these two, no one will break multiple world champion. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry, boys, you're 83. I love you too, but it's not happening. These world champions are a century apart. Do you know what I mean? That's why I believe that's why you see the heat is not there on Tim. But again, Tim is in winter time, isn't it? Time for him to hide a little bit and come out at the other end. So yeah, that's just my opinion. So Karlina, what do you think about yourself? How do you feel? Like you got the heat now. You are the New Zealand now. When we talk in New Zealand, it's Karlina, no one else. How do you feel about that?
Oh my gosh, I definitely haven't thought about that, because when you asked that question, I thought, no, my GL points is bigger. Because you asked how you're bigger.
Oh my thing, that's classic.
And I think, like, just at the end of the day, that's kind of what I'm really thinking about, is GL points and totals. Yeah, so I don't know how I feel about that. I just got to keep trying to beat everyone.
Do you support each other though in New Zealand? I know you have. We mentioned Tim here being another Kiwi guy that is on a world stage. He's been in the world stage, I think, twice, I think, on top of my head. And he's been mentioned when you mentioned in powerlifting, the nation's teams and has been there, especially like we had the Bray Gibbs and the Russ, and now we have the teams and the Delaney, although some of us have been forgetting in the middle. But how the support is in New Zealand. Am I being too political here, or am I being too fiery? So I'm sorry if I am. But how is that support in New Zealand? Do you support each other? Do you get like a message from team saying, "Oh yeah, well done, what you're doing," and all of that stuff, things like that? Oh, that says no.
Hey, listen, no pressure, but you gotta tell us the truth.
I think at heart we're all supporting each other. There are some, like, I messaged Evie before she went on, but I've never spoken to Tim before, and I haven't spoken to other New Zealand lifters before. We're a very small country, but he lives in the South Island, I think. So we're all still very far apart. And I guess for me, not having been or being new back to the NZPF, there was quite a split. So kind of like people didn't know us before.
That's a different story for another day. I think Dom filled me in briefly, and I was like, whoa. But
so basically we weren't in the club, and now we're in the club. So we're just kind of starting to get to know people.
Okay. I mean, I'm not coached by Dom, and I'm not part of the team. I can be free here, right? So otherwise, he's not going to prescribe any difficult block for me. But you guys detached yourself from the IPF in New Zealand, right? And then you came back in. Again, I'm talking here because I got other New Zealand friends as well. I got different stories here. So you came back in. How did it make the team feel? Thinking, okay, these guys left and they came back in. Probably they have to be tested again because we don't know what they've been using on the other side of the moon, because dark side of the moon brings a lot of shit. So, do you know what I mean? So how did it make people feel?
I would say that'd be a good concern to have if we didn't use the same drug testing companies for our competitions. So that kind of isn't a thing that they'd need to worry about. I was very new when we split. I'd only had one competition. So of course I went with my coach and my squad, who they were the only people I knew. And so coming back, I think maybe some people might be salty, but I think most people were happy to just have New Zealand as a whole again and have the talent that had left come back, because outside of me there was quite a lot of talent that left with us as well. So having them back, I think everyone's quite happy, but still getting used to saying hi to each other around.
Not higher than yours though. Not higher than yours though, in your weight class.
No, saying hi to each other, she said.
Saying hi. I thought I heard hi total being.
I mean, is it a competitive mindset you guys have in New Zealand? Because sometimes, like, I spoke to Americans, we all did speak to French and all of that stuff, and even like Hungarian. Everyone have like a different culture, a different mindset when it comes to competition, when it comes to lifting, right? No saying hi to each other. I mean, again, even in Britain here, you got people, you go to a national, you say hi, the person will give you a bad look thinking they want to kill you. I'm thinking, mate, I'm just coming here to lift. I'm just saying hello, mate. You know what I mean? I didn't come here to kill you, but but I'm going to beat you on the platform anyway. So, but is it a competition way in New Zealand of you feeling like people not saying hi to me because they're so competitive, or you feel people not saying hi to me, the big word is because they're jealous?
I don't know. Maybe I have a resting bitch face. I don't know. Maybe that's why. But other people are experiencing it too. I don't know if people are just not super sociable, or maybe we're at a competition and we look like we're in the zone and they don't want to say hi, which I would prefer not if I'm competing actually.
Oh yeah, for real?
yeah.
So so basically you're on the level where if you comp day, you're just focused, you don't really want to be doing a lot of socializing.
Yeah, I just
there's no right or wrong answer here. I mean, different strokes for different folks and all that stuff. So
yeah, I am one of those lifters that just likes to retreat into their zone and stay in their zone, and even my handlers don't say very much. They kind of just point at me and tell me how many reps.
So Dom's just like
all
right, cool.
2
I
guess you're this high.
So I guess in Malta I'm gonna get punched by you then. So that again, on that note today, it brings me to the World Championship again, right? We saw Agatha on her knees cheering Jess on her last deadlift. I know what probably your answer would be there. Cheering Jess on her last deadlift. We got Agatha on the podcast and we asked Agatha the same question, saying, would you still be cheering Jess if Jess is about to beat you again would you still be doing that?
Or
She
even
probably
to,
said,
Carlina.
or even to Karlina. She said,
Yeah.
I would do it. But Agatha had a reason. She said, I probably cheered Jace at the world championship to pull that world championship to win because I knew next year is mine, the year after is mine. So I don't need to worry about worrying now because I got 2, 3, 4 years to win it. So now I come back to you. If something like that is happening in, I'm not going to talk about Sheffield. I love SPD, love you guys, but the best fight I'm waiting is world. So if something like that is happening in at the IPF in Malta, would you cheer your competitor up, knowing if Jess or Agatha get that deadlift, they beat you? Would you cheer them up? If not, why?
I commend Agatha for that sportsmanship. I really do. And it's great to see, but I just don't think I would. I don't even think it would come into my head to do that. I don't know if I'd be watching either. I think I'd just be sitting in a corner with my eyes closed and waiting for someone to tell me what happened.
Is it eyes closed, hands together, going, please no, please.
No.
Please.
Yeah. It would be lying if that wasn't going through. You want to win.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, what kind of competition
There's no
is
cheering from you then. They're not expecting no cheerleaders from you. It's not coming, is that?
If the deed is done, there's cheering, but not before.
Okay, cool. No, you know what?
Not
I respect
on the way
that.
up.
Yeah, on the way up, there's gonna be like,
come on.
yeah, like, come on, that grip is gonna loosen up at some point.
I'm just not. I like to think I'm a good sportsman, but I'm not that good.
No, I'm on your side here. Like personally, I would not have done what Agatha's done. I'm pretty sure Mo and Juris will agree, because if the win is on the line, especially if it's your first one, like actually no, maybe if it's the second and third, fourth, maybe I'm not talking as if I've experienced this, but like, you know,
I mean, I'm different. I think,
mine's is slightly different also.
Yeah, mine's slightly different. My take on that is, if I give, for instance, like in your shoe, Karlina, if it comes to Jess or Agatha pulling the last pull, you're at the back not even watching, wishing, oh God, hopefully the deadlift's gonna get stuck on our thighs and doesn't come up, or maybe like she rip a hand or something, right, to drop it. So probably, right, that's what you're thinking at the back. But me, it's a little bit different. I told you today.
It's
I'm
really
on
detailed. Really,
really
detailed.
Yeah. Oh, maybe like spring or some talk on that bar. But anyway, all I'm saying is, me is a bit different in a way. Like, if I've given people the opportunity to pull and beat me, that's on me, right? So I have to do what I need to do to the point where even if they pull that bar, they don't beat me. Do you know what I mean? So I will cheer them on. Yeah, I will cheer them on. If Jess or one of my competitors are coming out, like a world when Anna came out with 385 deadlift, I was the first one there in line. I said, May, if you don't get this, I'm the first one. I'm going to kill you. Even the Team GB said to me, you know that if you get it, you are third.
I feel like NF's a unique situation though. Everyone would share for right now.
Yeah, I just said, look, when you're saying things like this, it don't happen always. You got to appreciate talent when you see it. So it's like your position, make sure you don't put Agatha and Jess in a position where they're pulling to beat you. Just do that. 6:30.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, when you get your 640 in Malta next year, that means
this guy's adding numbers, boy.
It's just carrying up.
But that's what Karlina said. We need to hear him high, because you think Taylor Harwood next year is gonna stay at 124 GL point? No.
Yes, I don't think he's not surpassing that. I don't think he's surpassing that.
No?
Nah, no chance. No chance. I don't see him setting.
We got to use that clip, bro, and put it on.
Yeah, trust. Like we have to goad someone to like say otherwise.
Clickbait.
But just another very quick question, Karlina. I noticed you started powerlifting when you were 25. basically. That's when you
Yeah.
had your first competition. So I've always been fascinated with the talent pool that will come out of New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, because I think if those countries ever do come into powerlifting, there'll be a full reset of every single heavyweight class and potentially 93 kg up for the men's side, right? Were you playing any sport before you started powerlifting? Because obviously you started at 25, I guess you were already working as a medical student, or you were still studying in that period. So were you playing any sports beforehand, and what got you to consider powerlifting?
Yeah, that's so true about, you know, some hidden talent in the islands. I'm Tongan, and I put a lot. So the penny drops. You're like, there's definitely some genetics going on here that's helping me do what I can do. But before I played netball, so I didn't do any weight training. It was all very like cardio, agility stuff, and team sport before going into this completely into individual sport. But yeah, always been super competitive and a sportsman, and so I had to have a sport, and powerlifting was the one that was going to let me do that.
Speaking of sports, like you said, you're competitive. I've never really asked anyone this on the podcast yet, but what goes through your head when you catch a loss? Like, especially in powerlifting, like say for example, I'm just on the off chance, again, I'm not trying to manifest this, but say on the off chance there comes a time where there's another rising 76 in Oceania, like, and you go head to head, and then, you know, marginally they win. They're like, have you ever considered like, I'm gonna be mad bitter about this, come back strong next year? Or you're gonna be like, there's always another competition, like you said?
Yeah.
Like,
I like to try and find this like gray line between the both of those things, where I can pull from being cut and salty, but also knowing that this isn't the end of the world, and you can keep going on, you can have another competition. So I do try to find that line where I can pull from both and take what's not helpful and put that part away so that I can just move on.
What gives you the most fire then to like just I don't know, go ham and crazy, improve and everything? Is it the competition? Is it what is it?
I think it will be the L's. I think you know, like I felt so good on my first competition doing that 582, probably better than I felt doing this 590. And I think maybe going into it, you know, I've tried to have a think about it and what didn't go the way that I planned. But I don't know, maybe I did just feel like, oh, cool, like I'm at this top, like with these two girls now. This is a pretty cool place to be. And maybe I just like let myself rest a little bit. So even if that stuff's not real, it helps me, and I'll take that like fake flame as well, and use that.
I mean, from knowing from what I know from Dom, obviously you know him differently, but I don't think there's any rest for you. Like you've got a wicked total, and you know, as they say, there's no rest for the wicked out here. So you know, you just gotta continue growing that 590 to the 600s.
Yeah.
But do you think also, like, although you got a 590, do you think the lift that you miss is part of it? Because me personally, what gives me fire when I compete or when I train is not even my competitors, because I don't give a shit about my competitors. I love them, what they do. I respect their strength, but I couldn't care less. Right? They go and total their total, that's their total. I don't care. But what gives me the fire when I get on the platform is the lift that I miss in the last time I went on the platform. You know, I mean, just to be so salty and so hard on myself. In 2019, I missed 280 squat at the national. There was a full nation in December, something that Joey probably did not prescribe for me to do. I just said to Joey, fuck, I need to go and get this 280. I can't go with this year without me getting this 280 because I'm getting sleepless nights.
I'm not gonna lie, Durance capitalized on the fact that I wasn't gonna be in the country.
He was not in the country. I just put my name down.
Signed himself up to that competition.
Literally.
Some cheap.
When I heard him, he said, "Oh, I'm going to the Philippines. I was like, oh mate, look, can I give you a lift or something at the airport or something if you want? You know, to shout me because I just wanted him to get out of the country.
He didn't, by the way. I got my own ass there.
I wanted him to get out of the country so quickly. As soon as he got to the airport, I put my name down straight. Right. And I went for it. I didn't even tell him I went for it. And because I was getting sleepless night, especially when you miss a squat like that you work for, you miss it on 2-1. Literally, I missed it on depth, which was an inch. It pissed me off. I was like, nothing ever pissed me off like that. So to me, again, going back to you is those misses that light fire in me. But your 590, the ones that you miss are not the one that lighting that fire in you thinking, fuck it, I gotta get that 220 squat. I gotta get that 260 deadlift. Jessica made that 260 deadlift looks like butter in front of the world, although it was a little bit of grind, but it was butter because she got it. Free while I. Why couldn't I put 260? Isn't that no that a fire to you there?
Even the bench was just technical. It was just technical.
Oh my god, that one.
The bench was very, very, very easy. Well, missed second attempt.
Yeah. No, for sure that does fuel me going into the next one. I'm not going to sign up to a competition before then, but I'll let it simmer. As soon as I missed the 220, I was just mad. Like, that shouldn't have happened. Why did that happen? And I think I kind of know why. So now it has to be, a second attempt at maximum.
That 230 we're talking about is this year then, because if 220 is second attempt, Jesus.
Yeah, and knowing Dom, if you're like a very proficient squatter, like a 5 kilo jump is not worth your salt, you know what I mean? Like, gotta go for that 7.5, 10. So
that 220 second attempt. So you telling me I have to look forward to the Commonwealth at 4 a.m. in the morning?
Yes. Wait, your son will be there with you.
Mate, this is impressive. Oh my god. Don't forget to tag Agatha on this, Joey.
No, I will, bro.
Oh,
like, she needs
just
to know.
Agatha, nobody else.
I mean, everybody. I said to you top 5 because to me personally, I know the 76 class. There's 5 top lifters in the 76 that are doing things that are insane. Yes, you 3, you're like Messi and Ronaldo, right? But the other 2 are coming. I mean, again, someone like Kimberly, what Kimberly's doing the 76, mate, you gotta give her that. This is a woman that is M1 and giving you all of you guys a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta appreciate that. But that's really impressive. So that 220 second attempt Commonwealth, Jesus Christ. Oof. Oof. That's amazing. That is impressive.
Jeez, damn, I just saw the time. Well, we're coming up to like almost a 2-hour mark.
Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know, like Majid, like you got any few more last questions, bro, that you wanna let's shoot Karlina's way?
No, I think I've exhausted all my questions. It's just like I mentioned before, I'm super impressed by the talent pool in Tonga, Fiji, Samoa, New Zealand, Australia. So hopefully as you keep on pushing the boundaries in the 76 kg class, we'll see more young talent and more young juniors coming out, because the rugby talent there is always amazing and it's insane.
Yeah,
a lot of those boys would definitely crush some insane benches and squats. So it would be lovely to see, also on the female side, see more people also come out from the woodwork long term.
You see, he says this now, but when a 105 comes out and just like smokes everyone,
I'm just going that. See, here's the thing. I think they'll dominate 93 because they're always like short, stocky, and very agile. That makes no sense. Like it defies physics. So 93 kg to 120 plus is locked off once they come into the sport. That's it. We'll just have to retire on the side.
It's the same thing we're saying about when the Chinese joined the IPF. All the lighter weight class,
74s.
All the lighter weight
class.
Whoa. Forget about it.
Yeah, your class is locked.
You're done. Your class is locked.
You think 83s ain't gonna be locked off either?
Russ will come back.
Do you know how? think if you think of Liu Xiaojun and
I said like, Russ will come back.
Oh right. Oh my bad. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, my bad.
You know what I mean? So I mean, all the lightweight class is on a lockdown. So it's like, yeah, what you say, when the Chinese come, and if these guys can get the sport again, when more mentioned there, Karlina, yourself, the good work you guys are doing, and Dom as a coaching team, and also Tim Monagadi himself. I feel sorry for him. Why is because not because he's the, I mean, no disrespect to other New Zealand powerlifters in the male side, but I watch the New Zealand team. I don't see anyone backing him or supporting him in that journey. It is like Bray Gibbs did it alone. You are doing it pretty much alone yourself on the women's side.
No, she's not, bruv.
But mate, who's in New Zealand has got more hit than Karlina?
No, but she's getting backed by other nations. You think I don't have her back? You think Joy doesn't have her back?
No. I'm not saying other nations. I'm saying her nations. She's bringing her nation from the woodwork, coming in herself, right? The good thing about this one is because you're not just one person in terms of like the personality of the athlete, this team as well. That's when I asked her, do you guys talk? Do you guys are friend? Things like that, because it's like you two are the biggest names in New Zealand. We can't lie about it, right? So you bring your nation to the IPF, hopefully more will follow. So yeah, I don't have no more questions. I just want to say like, great work. I mean, I love watching you lift, you know, and you know, you always have fans here. And although I love you, I love Agatha, I love Jess, what you guys do, the fire you bring. When you come to Sheffield, if you got that invite, I will be there watching. When you come to Malta, I'm sorry, you're going to punch me at the back because I'm going to keep on saying hello, hello, hello. It's fine. I can take a punch. It's fine. I will take it. So yeah, thank you for coming. Great. So
thank you so much.
I just have one last question, and then we can do the goodbyes and everything. But like, has Dom mentioned anything about flying with you to Malta IPF or even Sheffield?
Yeah, he does talk about going. I'm pretty sure he'll come.
To both?
Well, he talks about, or he makes jokes that he's going to Sheffield and maybe I'm not. So he's like, oh yeah, when we go to, when I go to Sheffield, because Joy's going, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Okay, cool.
But you gotta count me like that.
Yeah, no. The only reason I'm asking is because, like, you know, I want to talk to him face to face. Because
even if you don't do Sheffield, by the way, just last comment. There's the Arnold next year. There is 3,000 euros to win. So if the Sheffield bank account doesn't show up, there's $3,000 there to win at the Arnold, right? So I just come to the Arnold.
Hey, as long as SBD is comping her, I think she's flying left, right, center, bro. Like send the location, innit?
Yeah, send location.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, so again, thank you so much, Karlina. I know like we spent a good portion of your time. I don't know if you expected it to be this long or anything, but I definitely had fun, got to know a hell of a lot that I didn't think I would want to know from the beginning. But yeah, like way more than I thought I would. But yeah, thank you so much again for coming on. Hoping to have you back on like either after Commonwealth or just as the Sheffield invites come out. It's going to be really interesting. Like obviously my fingers are crossed that you know that you get it. Chances are that you will, because they need a female from Oceania, don't they?
Yeah,
like, definitely.
Well, they've got Evie. We'll see.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, people
are very stuck on the worlds thing and my non-world presence.
I mean, SBD
Yes.
like SBD is a business, man. Like if someone's gonna fan like a bigger show, then no disrespect to Evie, like, you know, like Evie's cool, like love Evie, she's amazing to talk to, like chill with and everything. And
just say what you got had to say, bro.
I didn't know the accolades before pointing the cut through.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is like if someone's gonna put on like the attention or SBD on the map, it's gonna be battle of 760s between you, Jess, Agatha. You know, like that. Good business is good business. It's there. Yeah. So
you do know Agatha hasn't got a place yet as well.
Yeah.
But she's gunning for it, right? Literally literally the same time as Commonwealths.
Yeah, but she's not doing Arnold's 76 anymore. She's doing Arnold's, but she's doing the world championship as a junior as an 84. and she's doing Europeans as an 84.
But I think she could do something where she weighs in just slightly, very little above 76. That's kind of like, I just did this because I don't want to break the world record. So I'm capable. It's just I don't want to break the world record right now. Obviously, Karlina has her own say later on, and she'll go, "Well, I too don't want to break the world record." Just let you know.
But you do know, like, I mean, I know we meant to finish the podcast, but we're talking about Sheffield here. You do know Sheffield will be a seasonal thing as well. So
Yes.
in the Sheffield eyes as well, as you mentioned there, Joey, they are a business. Do you think they will want all the fire to go this year? What about next year? What about the year after that?
But this fire will attract so many American lifters to come next year.
Exactly.
That's why I think like this one needs to pop. So next year you already have your hype set up. So next year you're not worried about hype anymore. It's now quality kind of going forward. Yeah.
So Karlina, we all literally rooting for you for that Sheffield invite.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yes, once again, thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed the rest of your evening. Yeah, evening. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Time difference.
Bedtime.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, cheers.
Thank you again. Have a good evening.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.